In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Welcome to Rap in Order, the interrogation of a hip-hop album, where we take some of the culture's most beloved hip-hop albums, put them on the stand, see if they stood the test of time. Now let's see who we got on the stand today. Welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
And I am Taurian B.
How we feeling? What we got today?
Beavis and Butthead.
And Butthead, yeah.
Beavis and Butthead.
How we feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nostalgic. I'm actually happy. I really wanted to do this album.
Yeah, I mean, when you sent the recommendation, because listeners, viewers, like, we usually will just send an album, like, yo, we doing this one, cool. I'll send one, cool. I never really give pushback for like an album that he wants to do, despite how that's looked on here before.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he sent this one and I was like, interesting. This should be, this should be a good listen, a fun listen, but we'll get into that. How's everything? How's your week?
It's good, man. Just been working, just getting ready for the holiday and everything like that. Lord knows we didn't film that much, but so I worked my doorman job a lot this week. Mm-hmm. So like it's just been like hectic because like everybody's been like taking off time from work.
Yeah,
because it's a blackout for the holidays and stuff like that. So like it's a good thing because I'm getting extra money, but I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, so it just worked out. One hand washes the other with the jobs.
That's good. And then I know them bonuses probably about to hit.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
can't fucking wait.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. I'm trying to look for like more disposable income. You know about this freelance thing I started up fairly recently, which is exciting because it's still along the lines of rap shit that we like to talk about. So I'm excited to see how that comes about.
I hope they challenge you one day. I hope they send you like a rock album or like a folk music album.
Yeah, I mean that'd be fly, but I don't think they will. I think right now it's gonna be
they're just gonna
rap.
Strictly.
Yeah. It's gonna, because that's like the area that needs like the most
challenge. Regg, man,
expertise.
Challenge him.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I'll be down for it. I'll be down to do like a country album. Like
listen, man. Chris Stapleton's my guy.
I know. So yeah, if it comes up, I won't shy away from it. But yeah, other than that, everything's good. I started taking driving classes.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Guys, let me tell y'all something. We went to LA one year and we went to go get the car and I realized that none of the guys knew how to drive. So I was like the designated driver. So like, you think about that, that's good, right? Because you're in the driver's seat. That means you get to like, put your seat back the furthest and everything like that. You pretty much get final say in wherever y'all going, right? Mm-hmm. But then you realize that you can't drink.
Yeah.
Because, we were in a city that we're not from, like,
you want to kick back, you want to do all of it.
Yeah, so it was like it was a gift and a curse. Like, and remember that was when we found out that James had a driver's license, just that he never drove.
Yeah, and never said shit. And he was like, well, I mean,
But yes, Regg getting his driver's license, I definitely hope that a road trip is on the horizon.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think what pushed me to get it, because, for listeners, viewers, if you live in New York, it's kind of just like, it's an afterthought for a lot of people to not to have a license. So like, being from Detroit, and I drove a bit out there, but it kind of, with my permit, and then I just never got official. And I moved out here and I kind of just push it to the side because everything was so convenient. Even in Detroit, like my schools were all walking distance. Everything was kind of just, my job was right there. So I kind of just got pushed to the side. But yeah, now that I'm on the road or learning the road more, it definitely, I could see like how it makes you more aware. Like,
absolutely.
That shit, it's like, as a person that rides their bike like pretty frequently, that's one level of awareness. But like driving is like, because you have so many blind spots.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's overstimulating.
Right. And then think about like when you drive like something like a fucking Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah.
Or like a really big truck.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to be mindful like for how much you got like behind you and shit like that. Like when you're like crossing lanes and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
It's interesting.
Like, and then I'm excited to like see you like on the highway. Like not no funny shit, because like highway driving is like an art.
Yeah, it is.
Like you literally like have to like learn like these like unspoken rules. Like, you know, you have the fast lane, you have the cruising lane, then you have the slow, the get out, you know, to get off on the exit lane and shit like that. And if you're on a road trip, motherfuckers will let you know when you're in the wrong lane.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then trucks and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I wanted to talk about some of the shows that are, well, I want to tell you one thing. I saw Ali Wong stand up on Netflix. Me and Sarah watched it. I loved her first two stand-ups, right? She's newly divorced now.
Mm-hmm.
She's dating Bill Hader.
Yeah.
They're in a relationship, right?
Yeah. They were, I think, I want to say they were together before and now they're back together.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, I don't. She like told like a story like how like as soon as she got divorced, like he hit her up.
Oh, okay.
And like, you know, she was still like dating, but like he like did like these grand gestures to like get with her. So that being said, I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it, right? And then she says something that completely turns me off and makes me not want to like enjoy her anymore. I don't know why I got so upset. She said that she's exclusively dated Asian men.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, because like, I'm like, date who you want to date, right? But I guess like when a person says that like they only date one race,
yeah,
it makes me mad because I'm just like, don't say that. Just say, hey, like these are my surroundings. This is what I do. But like when you say that, it makes me feel that like if a guy like me likes Ali Wong, she won't give me a shot.
Well, yeah, and you just got to be okay with that.
I'm not okay with that.
But what's wrong with that? If somebody that is, I don't want preference to tether the lines of racism to people because if, you know, in the same breath, if you say I only date black women, how do you think that will make other people feel, or how would you expect other people to take that?
It depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to another black woman, she'll probably love it.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to an Asian woman, she might be like, well, damn, like, what if I'm like a great person? What if I'm your person?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm being honest with you guys. I understand that this sounds very, very, very stubborn and like don't have a leg to stand on. It just pissed me off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving on.
Yeah, because I think, it's interesting though, because it would be crazy if you meet somebody if you meet a black person that says, I only date white women. Then it'll be like,
I have a friend that does that and it blows mine too.
Yeah. I know that friend.
Yeah, yes you do.
But yeah, it'll just be like, damn, all right, well, I could be mad at this or just respect the fact that they have a preference and they stand 10 toes on that shit.
It drives me nuts.
Don't downplay black women or don't downplay other races. You just like what you like.
Like, I guess so.
Yeah.
So, right, I finished Fight Night, the Kevin Hart, Don Cheadle, Samuel L. Jackson, and Taraji P. Henson show on Peacock. Very, very good finale.
Okay.
And like I'm jealous because like there's some people who didn't like watch it and like they just get to binge it now. And
like me.
Yeah, I wish that I waited. But it's such a good watch, bro.
Yeah.
And like it's so much like random shit that happens. It's a good story. Shout out to the costume team. Shout out to the people that got the wigs for these people. Like their afros looked immaculate. David Banner's perm was fucking David Banner's perm and I think Terrence Howard really grew his hair out for that shit. But I
remember he was doing interviews while he was filming it, and everybody was like, "Well, what the fuck is he doing?" Because he just will show up and do interviews with his hair like that.
Right. Jamie Foxx told us, man, how he is. He stays in character.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then also I've been watching The Penguin.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's one thing that hasn't like slipped by me. I tune in every week. I mean, as we're recording the day of this, the third episode the fourth. The fourth episode is coming on tonight, and I can't wait. That dude, the young kid from the Bronx that's playing Victor, he's killing it.
He is. I'm just wondering how the fuck is he not dead yet? Not Victor, Oz. Penguin.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yo, he should be dead. He should be called. He should be Catman because he has 9 lives. Like he just every single time I think he's about to die, he gets out of. He be just get. I'm like, yo,
yeah, like by the skin of his teeth. This is
a pretty cool origin story for him though. I hope that he's going to be in the sequel to Batman. Like I hope. Like
I think he has to. He's such a draw.
Yeah.
Even if he dies in the series, I think the Batman, the next story is still gonna find a way to include him. He's such a good. I mean, technically, with the way that the Penguin is taken off, this takes place a week after the events of the Batman. So it's like maybe they'll have like an in between area or like some type of flashback or something. They have to include it.
They have to.
But I do think that the next Batman movie is going to focus on Freeze because I think it takes place in winter.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
already saying that it takes place in the winter.
Okay. Court of Owls.
Court of Owls, yeah.
You read that
they
one.
asked-
I remember
yeah.
you made me read that one.
Yeah. That shit was amazing.
Okay.
Amazing, yeah.
All right. So anything else you've been watching? Or?
What else have I been watching? I was watching Bad Monkey with Vince Vaughn.
I watched the first episode of that.
Yeah, how'd you feel about it?
I liked it. I didn't keep up with it because I just like lost track of time. But I'm gonna keep going with it. But like how
it's good. I kind of started falling off of it. I think it ended now, so I think I got like 3 episodes left. So now I can just binge it. It's good. I like seeing Vince Vaughn in anything really because he kind of plays variations of the same person. Even though it's weird too, right? Because I feel like when we first met Vince Vaughn, he was showing more diversity than he is now. Like he kind of just fell into
you could tell he's just comfortable.
Yeah, he kind of just fell into playing the guy that's in Wedding Crashers, like in everything. This charming, tall, white guy. Like he's just
that's just over everything. Looks tired.
Yeah. That's how he is.
I would love to see him and Ben Affleck be in a movie together.
Yeah, same.
And they just be over everything.
Before he was in Psycho. Dude, he was showing range in like the 90s. So like it'd be cool to see him get back to that. But I'm watching that. I'm watching like I said, Penguin. I'm watching not really keeping up with that much right now. I'm trying to think.
Me neither.
I've been trying to go back to like the Apple TV shows because they have a lot of good shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Did you finish the morning show?
Yeah, morning show, I think season 4 is about to come out.
Okay.
I finished the first 2 seasons. I got season 3 left.
Okay. The morning show was good. I couldn't finish that other show that triggered everybody.
Oh, damn, it's at the top of my mind. Severance.
Yeah.
Severance was fire.
I couldn't do it.
It was very triggering for like a work-life balance type.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's very. Did you like it or like you couldn't do it because of?
I was pissed off.
Yeah, it was like because it's one of those shows where it's like it really puts you in perspective of like you ever finish like a long ass day at work and then you leaving work and you're like and somebody asks you like, yo, how was work? And you can't even remember because so much shit happened. That's exactly what that show is, and let's just kind of pulls on that.
I get it.
Yeah, but yeah.
So moving on to music things.
Mm-hmm.
Drake is subbing Hove.
You think so?
I don't know what to make of it. It could mean a lot of things, but I will be honest, and I will be like very transparent. I'm tired of our musicians using social media and like just posting cryptic things, and like then we have people like, you wanna know what's funny? They get annoyed with conspiracy theorists, but they're literally fueling. They're fueling and giving conspiracy theorists jobs. Like, just do a sit down interview and just talk, or talk to whoever you want to and control it how you want, like to bring the narrative out. But
that's also where we're at right now. Where
tired of it.
I think they've realized the value in doing exactly that, just not speaking and letting people come up with their own conclusions because it just extends people being interested in them and whatever they do. It extends it. Now, if they go and they do an interview, that's going to be timeline talk for a couple weeks, but then it fades. People talking when you don't give them anything to talk about from your own mouth, that extends. That's going to be forever. It's just going to keep going.
Not a fan.
And people like Drake want to be talked about. So he does shit like that.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating, and it's just like, and like all these people have each other's phone numbers. They have a way to get in contact with them.
Yeah, it's all performative stuff, man. It's all performative. And I said this on a past episode, but like in a way, all of this stuff is like the mystique that we have in artists right now. It ties to Beyonce. Like it's Beyonce's fault. Beyonce did it for her own self, but she became a recluse. And I think a lot of people saw the value in how she does that and how people worship her because of that. Because it's like, oh, we just get her. We get the art. We get grade A art from her when we hear from her.
Okay, so what you're saying, I see that point. But Beyonce doesn't like cryptically post something to make us think she beefing with somebody. She just posts like her outfits when she goes out.
Yeah, but also, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But she doesn't talk to people. She doesn't talk. but you go and you watch like interviews and shit like that from the past, and you see her personality,
I think a lot of people. Well, okay, I'm not going to speculate, but okay, all right, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Next, another Drake topic. Drake is just dominating shit. Him and P&D have an album coming.
Yeah. Think there's gonna be some shots on there.
Yeah, it's Drake, bro. He's definitely is, but I think that he's gonna put it out like, as it gets colder out. That's kind of like his thing, I think it's a smart pivot. Like, no matter what he puts out rap wise is going to get, like, obviously it's going to be good, but I think it's going to get dissected so much. So why not just put out feel good music, get the women back in the forefront, like, you know what I'm saying? And then his core fans and just do that. And like Party Next Door, I think he deserves like to be propped up a little bit.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and do it.
This is such a big stain for Drake. I think yeah. I don't even think he should be coming out with music right now, to be honest.
Ooh.
I think he should just chill.
I
think he should just chill and just lean into the fact people talking about him right now because they have speculation, but he should be on some like, yo, the nerve of y'all talking about me like this. You know what? I'ma chill and let y'all kind of reap the benefits of whatever's happening right now. But I'm gonna let y'all reflect, and miss me for a little bit. That's what he needs to do. He should let people just miss him. Let people sit with his catalog, let them stream shit, and just miss him for a bit.
All right. So we'll talk about Port Antonio briefly. Immediate thoughts.
Nah. So when it first came out, phenomenal raps. Really, really good raps. That's how I felt. I think I said it in the chat, like, yo, phenomenal. But it didn't, I had this other subconscious of like, yo, why the fuck would he do this? Right? And it kind of just leads into my J. Cole skepticism from all along, where it's like, yo, this dude, for a dude that don't be on the internet, he really tries to please the internet a lot.
I think it's too many, he listens to too much and like worries about too many different things.
Yeah, and it's affecting how he puts shit out. Like, you got people saying, and it dates back. It goes back to like how he was with the reception of like his albums in the past. So he was like, oh, all right, so I'm gonna freestyle on everybody's shit, and I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna freestyle on different beats. Just send me beats. So he went on his feature run. Then he was like, oh, y'all think that I'm not fucking with the younger rappers. All right, I'm gonna have an interview with Lil Pump, right? Had an interview with Lil Pump. Oh, y'all don't think I can rap on trap beats. I'm gonna kill these beats. Like, everything was just dictated by the internet, and he was living up to it. Or like the him and No Name thing, So it's like we've seen him kind of like with his back against the wall in a certain way, and him kind of fight himself out of it lyrically. But now it's like, all right, well, you've been telling us you the best forever, nigga. Just spar with somebody. It don't have to be. It's not a shootout.
I have bigger thoughts, but I'm going to save that. But I'll just say, I think that J. Cole over explains. And a lot of our favorite rappers, they definitely are contradictions of themselves. Like, Nas and Jay-Z are like the best examples. There's certain, like, they contradict themselves. Jay-Z after the battle with Nas, like, he said he wasn't talking about it no more. Than Blueprint 2 pretty much was an entire album, like him trying to rectify that. And like, Jay talked about that for a while.
Yeah.
Afterwards, right? So I just think that J. Cole just really needs to like trust himself. Yeah. And there's some insecurities there, but I'm not a therapist. So all right, let's move on from that, because like I said, we're gonna have a deeper conversation about that.
Yeah.
Glorilla's Glorious album.
Mm-hmm.
She's number one.
And in the female big three?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the big three, it shifts around.
It does.
I think yeah, she is number one right now. She's doing everything right. She's charming. She's great to watch. Her videos are dope. The album is dope. Yeah, her
interviews are dope.
Yeah,
like
interviews are good.
all the stats that Jay-Z listed off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interviews
Breathe
are
Easy.
hotter. Yeah.
She got an interview with Speedy. Had that boy ready to get out his pen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, her interviews are good. She was on 𝘗𝘓𝘵 Hudson. She had a moment with her. She sang You're Gonna Love Me with 𝘗𝘓 Hudson.
Wow.
That was big.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Shit, that's what I'm saying.
That was fire.
She's really like putting herself out there. She had a bunch of features on there: Lotto, Sexy Red, Money Long, Kurt Franklin, Megan Thee Stallion, T-Pain, and Bossman D-Lo. Like, so I'm like, okay, like she is a prime example.
Rihanna showing love.
Yeah, of artist development. Shout out to 𝘗𝘗𝘶 and CMG. Like what they did with her was great. And I think that a lot more artists that are running labels like a 𝘗𝘗𝘶 can take note and actually like really
I think so
take
too.
that there.
I think so too. But yeah, I think she's living up to it.
Okay, so real quick, Rihanna and K-Dot turned down Coachella. Does that ring anything to you?
Not really. I think I just am of the belief that Rihanna does whatever the fuck she wants to do.
Yeah, she's selling panties.
Yeah, and she chilling. I think Rihanna rolls out of bed for the right price when it comes to business, and something probably just didn't look right, or she really just dead ass don't feel like it.
Right.
And Kendrick, it would make sense. They're talking about he's probably doing a tour soon, so he probably doesn't want to get or feed into like whatever Coachella's doing. And Kendrick is not into the overexposure from what we've seen.
Right.
He's only going to do it when it benefits him. So like, if he has a tour coming, it makes sense why he would bow out of this, because he probably wants to work his whole tour.
Yeah, Coachella's kind of losing his luster. I think the peak was Beychella, Beyonce.
Yeah.
So Beyonce, Eminem, and The Weeknd. They, I think they kind of like set a bar that was kind of like hard to like reach.
Eminem did. What year was that?
Yeah, Beyonce did.
Oh wow, wow! Yeah. I didn't even remember his performance.
Yeah, he did. I was there. I saw it. Him and Dr. Dre performed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, I remember.
Good,
that.
Man. Like,
yeah,
it was dope. That was the first time I had mom spaghetti.
Okay,
but yeah, so that's the news, guys.
Yeah, that's what's happening currently. Yeah, man. Damn.
Yeah,
a lot of shit. Getting into the album for the day that we kind of briefly hinted at earlier. So this album is from some gentlemen that helped create the lore of this label and set the foundation for Def Jam.
Yes.
Right? Talking about three gentlemen that set the standard in the 80s, that helped define things for this label, along with 𝘗𝘗𝘶, of course. Yeah, they really set a different tone for hip hop at the time. They incorporated sampling and like I think Taurian kind of hinted at earlier. Well, maybe that was off mic, but you talked about like how they kind of what they did with sampling wasn't done, and they kind of changed it, right? And they kind of there was some pushback.
There was backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. So Beastie Boys, like they got out of their deal with Def Jam. There's two different versions. Their version is that they felt that contractually the money wasn't right.
Yeah.
Like they sold 1 million records out the gate, which was the second rap album to go platinum ever. And like, they're on tour with Madonna. They're headlining their own tours. Like, they're all over MTV. They had 7 singles chart off of that album, right? They blended like punk rock and hip hop. Like it was a perfect blend. And they felt like the money wasn't right. And they just felt like certain things weren't in order.
Yeah.
If you talk to Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons, it was just that like they were young, rambunctious like guys. And like they just didn't get along with like kind of like being told what to do. Lyor Cohen was a young Lyor Cohen, and he was like a homeboy with them versus like being their manager.
Right.
And like they just were like big kid. They would just like bros, like frat boys having parties, trashing hotel rooms. They were living their lives of rock stars, which is funny because now if you see like a current interview with the Beastie Boys, like they're completely different men. Like they're these like calm, like zen, like old Jewish men.
Yeah. And and in the 80s, just from like doing some like research from around this time frame of like how they got along, how their energy was through the roof. Even on this album that we're getting into, the album that we're getting into, by the way, is 𝘗𝘲𝘶𝘵𝘶𝘵𝘓.
Mm-hmm.
It was released July 25th, 1989. But around the time frame of them recording this album, even just like the looseness of some of the concepts of some of these songs,
Right.
you know, you can tell that they was just having fun. I mean, you know, a song like Eggman, the
Yeah.
concept of that was even funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we was just obsessed with throwing eggs at people.
Yeah.
Like it was just
that was the thing.
Yeah.
And they have a book. I read the entire book. That book is over 1,000 pages. Like it's a fucking heavy read. But they went out to LA, they signed with Capitol Records, and like they lived out there, and the president that signed them pretty much gave them everything that they wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
They record this album, they link up with the Dust Brothers, who are like known for like sampling and making instrumentals and stuff like that, because like they would like go to clubs in LA. So at that time, like clubs in LA, like it would just like, I wish I could like take a time machine, but like the DJs, they would just like blend shit together, and like they would just like mix the shit. And the Beastie Boys was like, yo, like we want to, I don't even think like they use production, but like they literally just use samples to make their beats.
Yeah.
And when they were making a project, like they just really just wanted to say, yo, you can get whatever you want. It was just like crate digging.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's the whole concept of 𝘗𝘲𝘶 Boutique. And like that's why like they use the picture and everything like that, because you can go there and get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really interesting because, like you mentioned off camera, you were like, yeah, like this album like bombed. And like that's why like Russell Simmons like felt like vindicated when they left. Like, all right, fuck them. Like, you know what I'm saying? They left. But what happened is that the president that brought them on got fired for giving them whatever they want and not giving them structure. Right?
Got you.
So he got fired. And then they went to the label and was like, hey, like, you know, what's up with our promo? What's going on? Like, first of all, like, the album cover was very abstract. Like they're not on, like they're in the album cover, but you can't see them. It's 𝘗𝘲𝘶 Boutique.
Yeah.
Right? And they're in the picture. And they took it themselves because they got tired of like just taking pictures and like being in the picture. Mm-hmm. So there was no promo for them.
And then they just hung that sign there to an actual store.
Yeah.
That's actually a store that that was down there on in the Lower East Side.
In the Lower East Side.
So
they went to the label and the guy was like, listen, I like you guys, but we're just going to put this out and like, it's time to start working on the next album.
Mm-hmm.
So like, at first, like people were just like, yo, this is like a far cry from like your first project, because you got to think like it now currently is a diamond selling album, but like their first album, License to Ill, was unheard of. Like you got to think like at the rate that they were selling records, like that was just unheard of. Like, you know, people looked at like their novelty act. They're white Jewish guys from Brooklyn that rap, right? So they were kind of like blending things, and like Rick Rubin, who was a genius, like kind of like helped bring them along with how he sampled and like brought in his rock influence because of his knowledge of music. Mm-hmm. And like they just kind of like took the world by storm. So then the second project, like they're like sampling like everything. They're sampling soul samples. Like they kind of had soul samples on there first.
They blended so many different genres on this album.
Right.
It's crazy.
And they just like, all right, like on Shake Your Rump, it has 9 different samples.
I counted 17.
You counted 17?
Yeah.
Jesus
17,
Christ.
Yeah, I counted 17 samples.
So like, I could just name like the 9 notable ones, but yo, and at that time, sampling records wasn't illegal. Like it wasn't something that like you had to like pay the artist back or anything like that. So like the Beastie Boys went crazy. Like they told the Dust Brothers like, yo, like they used the sample so much, like it was like some of these people were like featured on it. So like on Shake Your Rump, like you keep hearing Africa Bambaataa say shake yo rump, but it's like people thought that Africa Bambaataa was featured on the song. Mm-hmm. So like that's just like a thing that they did with this project, and like it was really like just a combination of them like living out in LA and like what the hip hop scene was like for them when they went to LA, because it was the hip hop punk scene. So obviously like gangster rap was like on the horizon, but like clubs were still playing dance mixes and stuff like that in certain spots. And like they're these young Jewish kids, they're rich. Like you got to think like these dudes are like hanging out with Madonna and Cyndi Lauper, and they're on MTV all day,
all the fucking time.
Long.
They're part of the blueprint of MTV.
Right. So, you know, like it was just a lot that they were doing. And then like it's funny because like they gave credit to Public Enemy. and said that Public Enemy inspired them to make this album, which is hilarious.
That's crazy.
But yeah, like, because like if you listen to this album, it's the most childish, immature album ever.
It
like
is.
it
Yeah.
really, it actually makes me think of like, when I listen to this album, it makes me think of Seth Rogen and his friends.
Yeah. It has this loose approach to it that's like, you know, like there's people like Larry David and Seinfeld and, you know, those guys that have this very loose approach to something that's looked at as so intricate. And it just works. Right. And getting into just some back stuff on it. So Paul's Boutique, like we said, it's the second album from the Beastie Boys. It's produced by the Beastie Boys and the Dust Brothers. The album is recognized for including funk, soul, rock, and jazz, and was recorded over 2 years at Mike Dyke's apartment. The album is named after a store the group made up, and the album cover displays a sign, like we said, with the name. But it's hung over the existing store called Lee's Sportswear, which was on the corner of Livingston and Ludlow and LES.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of already got into the lore of some of this stuff, and I think, you know, this is partially where the term like sophomore slump came from.
Yeah,
you know, because License to Ill did so incredible, but like, you know, we've seen the term sophomore slump in a lot of different ways, and we've seen people kind of like kill it in a sense of like, you know, you look at somebody like Kendrick Lamar, right, where Good Kid, Mad City came out, and then he made such a hard left with To Pimp a Butterfly, but it worked for him, right, because the music was so captivating and it dug a lot deeper. It's not what people wanted in the beginning, but it worked. I think with this, they made such a hard turn, but it was in a cocky way, because it was like, well, our first album did so well, they gonna fuck with this, you know? And then I think, like you said, this dude that gave them like everything that they wanted, partially was because everything worked so well with their first album.
Their first album, it was,
you know, it was like, oh yeah, y'all killed it. Here, whatever you want, you're gonna do it again, right? And I think I was reading an interview with them, and they were like, well, yeah, in retrospect, we see why it didn't work. You know, now it's like it has a cult-like following behind it. But they were like, yeah, we see why it didn't work, but back then we just didn't understand.
Right.
You know?
So I was watching the interview with Rick Rubin, and like I didn't realize, because I always wondered like that Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons fall out, like, and they didn't. Like Rick Rubin like left Def Jam because like it was because hip hop was becoming such like a force. He was like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore, because like it kind of started becoming a little political for him.
Yeah.
And like, as we know, like Rick Rubin kind of like likes doing the least.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he went and started his new record label, Def America. And like, he started working with Slayer, and he worked with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And what he said is that like a lot of the stuff that he wanted to give to the Beastie Boys is what he gave to Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it's funny because like, I'm a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I just listen. Like I never like really like got into like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, okay, how they started. And I never realized that like Anthony Kiedis is rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so when he worked with them, like he was just like, all right, like, you know, your delivery will be like in a rap cadence, but it's all live instrumentation, like no samples and shit like that. And I was just like, holy shit. And like, that's what he was saying. Like that was going to be like the next step for the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, you know, they kind of like did something the opposite. It worked out for them. But I was just like, damn, like I wonder what it would have been like if they would have like stuck together, Rick Rubin and the Beastie Boys. But it's just that like Rick Rubin really wanted them to like grow up. He was like, yo, like stop trashing hotels, stop, you know what I'm saying, like coming in like drunk and high, like let's get in the studio and like work, like let's meditate. And it was like, meditate, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, back then, like,
yeah.
what?
So it's actually like funny, like learning those little like tidbits, because I'm just like, damn, like, you know, when I listen to it's called Blood Sugar Magic, that album from the Beastie Boys, I could hear it, but it's just that like, you know, Anthony Kiedis, like his delivery, I will say I like his delivery better than all three of the Beastie Boys' delivery and rapping, but I get it and I see it, and I'm just like, damn, man, like I know that we made fun of Rick Rubin for basically doing like the least, but I get what he's saying and what he would have wanted to do with them. But I don't know how that would have looked on Def Jam. I think it would have definitely made Def Jam a more versatile label.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think Russell just wanted to lean more into like the black centric hip hop versus like just like kind of like being more worldly.
Right.
But I really think that if the Beasties would have stayed and like listened to Rick Rubin, I think the landscape of hip hop would look a little bit
I
different.
think so too.
It would have definitely had more, and it would have just been more worldly and more widespread than anything. But I mean, we got there anyway. But I think it wouldn't have taken so long to get there.
Definitely would have. Yeah, exactly. So just from some of the songs on this album, right? Like, what did you think of 𝘗𝘊𝘶?
I think it's fire. It's basically about a nigga that's a has-been.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the song because it's just like, I think in every neighborhood, like, a guy that was like, yo, I was the man back in the day, or like, I was this. And like, you're not taking him seriously, but then like, you might find out like, oh shit, like he wasn't lying. Like, actually, like this dude was like something or whatever like that. Like, like a big sports star or like a musician or like, like had like a really good paying job or something like that. And it's just like, they just in the neighborhood now. And it's like, you just got these three guys like fucking with like this homeless guy now that's a fucking has-been and shit.
Yeah. And they pretty much confirmed too, like multiple times, that it is someone real. It's just not their real name.
Right.
But also it would be someone that would like kind of just be outside on the stoop or whatever that they would see all the time. And that's like kind of where the inspo came from. And that's what I like about this experience of listening to this album too, where it's like nothing is really as deep as you might think it is.
Right.
It's just like, it's not that it's surface level. It's just like these ideas of songs are spawned from these small ass things.
Right.
You know?
Like the Sounds of Science, I think is like the dirtiest rap song like ever.
I like the second half of that one.
Yo, I do too, right?
Yeah.
And like they use 2 Beatles samples on the end and When I'm 64. And like I was just like, yo, like, okay, like they showing up their lyrical capabilities on this like somewhat. And I was listening to it and I'm like, yo, this song is about science.
Yeah.
it's just like some nerd shit.
The Sounds of Science. Like it's just all there. It's just like, what do you really, and I think with the way that we consume hip hop these days, it's like, a lot of it is like on the level of, what's the double meaning of this? Is there anything else? So it's nice to kind of just listen to something that's simplified and there's nothing that, like, it's literally there. Like it's there. I even wanted to talk about the intro a little bit and how smooth it is. I wish I got more of that instrumental.
Right.
The instrumental is smooth as hell. It's just like dedication to all different types of women. And it just kind of hits the mark for me.
That just let me know that they was fucking mad girls back
then. Yeah.
Like on some real rock stars.
He shouted out all types of women.
Yeah.
Inclusivity. Yeah. It just hit the mark.
I want to make sure I pronounce this one right. So track number 13, Sardach.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me because it basically was like talking about them like being rebels, but it tells a story that's in the Bible about 3 men that they wouldn't, like, back then, like, there were people that were like, if you were like a king, you wanted to be praised as the god of like your region or whatever, like that. And they were like, no, there's a real God. So like they named it after this song, but it just let me know like, okay, like these dudes, like they're not that, like, you have people that are Jews and then you have people that are Jewish.
Yeah.
Right. So like these guys letting know like they know their studies, they've read the Bible and everything like that, or the Torah, and just like combining that story in there and basically like making themselves be like, those 3 biblical figures. I cannot pronounce the names. I'm not going to try to pronounce the other 2 figures' names, but if you know the Bible, you know the story of these 3 men that just rebelled and then they got burned to a stake because they were going to praise that king. And I was just like, damn, like that's a deep story. And like for them to like do that, I'm like, that's some like Nas shit. Like, like, like just taking that kind of like level of lyricism and storytelling to like just describe who they were.
Yeah, and just kind of just putting it on this album that's so simplified otherwise. And it gets serious there. But what did you think about What Goes Around?
What Goes Around? It's literally a song about karma. Like the saying of the song says. And like I was just like, damn, like these dudes, like, it's funny because it's like you listening to these songs and because of their voices, it throws you off and you don't think that they're talking about like serious topics or serious subjects, but they kind of are. And it's interesting to like find out like, okay, like they had like meanings to say things, and like minds of like they made this album on mushrooms and acid and shit, but like they really like were trying to like get like a message through.
Yeah, they had some intent with it. Reason why I asked about that one specifically was because like when I was in my wormhole or like doing some research and stuff, they have said they hate this song.
That's funny.
Yeah, they said like they was like they pretty much asked them like, oh, what they was talking about this album specifically. There's like, oh, like what song, don't you guys?
Was this the interview they did at South by Southwest?
No, they did an interview. I want to say it was like with Interview Magazine.
Okay.
I think so. And they were like, yeah, no, that song is horrible or whatever. Like we had like an intent with it, but we don't like that song. There's one song on there that we don't like. It's that one.
What?
Like they shitted on it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What about, let's see.
I got one. High Plains Drifter.
Oh yeah, this beat is tough.
Right?
Yeah.
Fire. And it's
tough.
so there's a Clint Eastwood movie that's named after this. That's the name of this. And it's basically just about like an outlaw.
Okay.
You're doing outlaw shit, being a rebel. And like, it samples Willie Nelson's My Heroes Will Always Be Cowboys. That's the main sample of it. And it's just like, it's kind of dope. Like they're just telling the story of like, like Clint Eastwood, like he's the bad, he is the guy for like white people.
Yeah, he is.
So I just thought that was pretty cool. Like, oh shit, like, all right, like there was this movie and, he's a badass cowboy.
He not racist, is he? Or is it just
Clint Eastwood?
Is he just, I know he a Trump supporter. So it's kind of like,
Okay. I've been working on this, right? Like, how sometimes like we say he's not racist, he's prejudiced.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been trying to like to distinct the words, like obviously not give
there is a difference,
but there is a difference. He's prejudiced. He's not racist.
Okay.
He doesn't hate other races, but like he definitely has stereotypes and thinks things of them. I think his movie Torano is a prime example of that. And he comes from a different time.
He's just I was just going to say, he's very of his time.
Yeah, he's very of his time. There's only
but so much progression you can get from a 94-year-old.
So he's very prejudiced. But I don't think he's a racist. I don't think that like, he like wants slavery to come back or like wants us harm. But he definitely, if he was in Harlem, would definitely be staring at people crazy.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
What the fuck? Lock all these pieces. Yeah. So yeah. Reg's definitely gonna fact check and see if motherfucker racist.
Yeah. You gotta know. You never know these days.
No, I know. You're right.
But yes. So 3-minute rule was another one that stood out to me. MCA's verse on here is fucking raw.
It is.
And it's very seldom on this album that they don't curse on every song.
Back in the 80s, like cursing on records wasn't like a thing.
Yeah, they don't curse on every song, but when they do, MCA leans into that shit.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him too.
Yes.
Actually, crazy enough, when he died, the day that he died, I was at a Knicks game.
Wow.
That's how. Yeah, I was at a Knicks game when he died, and it came up on the jumbotron.
Yeah, when they died, like their album sales went crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. So the album closer, I really liked because they all three got like to shine. So they all got like different beat switches and stuff like that. And they all just like went balls to the wall and just like, just showcase like their abilities and shit like that. And for me, I'm a person, I just genuinely like really, really love hip hop. Like I love like rapidy rap B-boy shit, right?
Yeah.
They are like the truest to the essence of B-boy, of being a B-boy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like arms crossed, like just say like what you gotta say off the top of the head. Like it might not be the most like crazy or wittiest, but you know what I'm saying? Like
that's the art of it.
Get the party going and shit.
The
like
art
that.
of letting loose.
And like I just always appreciated that from him. So like that's kind of like why I want to like do this project, because like in hip hop, like I think that like obviously it's something serious when you're talking about something like from your upbringing or your neighborhood, but for me, I always thought of hip hop as like a getaway, like something like, you know what I'm saying, you do and you just fucking enjoy.
Yeah.
Not something where it gotta be like too heavy and shit like that. So like this is why of all the Beastie Boy albums I could have picked, like I picked this project because I was just like, this album is like a cult classic, and it is something that I just really like.
And I had to earn its stripes over the years.
Yeah, like it was a slow burn, and that's something that don't happen anymore. Like I'm curious to see like what albums that like have come out in recent memory that like kind of fell on deaf ears like gets the cult classic label later
Yeah,
on. Like I'm
yeah.
curious to see that
It
because
doesn't. It's very hard for that to happen now, partially because of attention spans and because music comes out at such a high volume rate.
right.
So it's like, you know,
I'm very curious. I want to see like what albums like that have like got like overlooked or whatever like that might get that praise later on. Like prime example, right? Like let's take an album like Honcho Jack. Like that album, some people would deem like a disappointment from Quavo and Travis Scott.
yeah, yeah.
I want to see if like 10 years from now that album is like praised and people are like,
Like,
yo,
yo,
they slept on this. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just curious to see that.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, but but I am curious to see what that will happen for.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are albums in our lifetime, more albums in our lifetime that's going to get that treatment for.
Right.
hmm
Okay. Well, we can get to the rating though. Like, I think we talked about a good chunk of the album and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. All right. So for my rating,
Uh-oh.
no, I'm gonna give this a 3.
Okay.
I'll give it a 3. There's a respect level that I have for the Beastie Boys. That I hold them very high because it's kind of mandatory, right? I think if you love hip hop, like to really do your studies and do your Googles and find out the allure of these gentlemen and see the barriers that they broke down just from being themselves.
Mhm.
And I think that's important. And this album really, really plays into that. Especially from a sampling standpoint and just from like a surface level of just like we said, like just hip hop, just appreciating hip hop and the core of it, getting to the essence of it, of just the fun aspects of hip hop, but also sliding in some messaging when you can. And I think this is a testament to that. What would you say?
I give this album a 4 out of 5 waffles. Just for the fact of like this album's like replay value is like good. Like I think obviously I know my room, right? But like if I'm at a party in New York City in the Lower East Side and I put this on, I think I'll be fine.
Okay.
And I think that
This is a very,
like I definitely think that you can play this in a lot of settings if you know your room and like be fine and it'll do well. And like I think that is the most important thing when it comes to a album that stands the test of time. And like this album was like a slow burn. Like we said, when it first came out, it didn't do well. It didn't get good, critical acclaim or anything like that. But like it grew and like created its own legend over time. And like I just think that speaks for itself. And that just says like a lot. Like these guys have the album prior to this was a diamond album, but this album is probably hailed in a better esteem. And then like following up what Rick Rubin did and working with the Dust Brothers. And like this actually made me want to like dive more into the Dust Brothers.
Yeah. Was there anything you didn't like about this album?
Yeah, so their voices can get annoying at times. That was what I didn't like. So like the production of this album, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I actually like hearing it because you feel like when you're listening to it, you're like, yo, a DJ is mixing like on the spot, like as you're listening to it, like
Right.
walking, right? So
Right.
that part was fine. It's just that their voices like really high pitched and everything, and like sometimes that can fuck with you.
And the back and forth flow between 3 different people is very challenging to listen to. I think like the boom, like it's just the way that they flow off of each other is good, but for such high pitched voices, it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
that's my biggest beef with them. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not even like what they're saying. It's just that how they sound. I'm like, oh my God, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So that pretty much was just about it with that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like their subject. I even enjoyed the subject matter, like what they did, because it put me in a place of like exactly where they were at. 3 young Jewish kids living in LA for the first time with millions of dollars.
Right. Yeah. And they fuck shit up.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure if I was given millions of dollars in my early 20s, I would be egging people to
Yeah, they the way they talked about it too was so funny. Like, yo, we were obsessed with egging people. Yeah, we were obsessed with it.
Yeah, man. Like it's reminiscent to me of the story of Big Pun riding around in a fucking van with a water gun and just squirting people.
Oh, I remember that story. Yeah. Pretty much, like, you just get money and you feel lawless, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's our review. 3 for me. You said 4 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
4.
Okay. I would encourage our listeners, viewers, to revisit Beastie Boys. Doesn't have to be this album, but you have heard their name if you love hip hop in some way, shape, form. And I think now's the time to figure out why. I'm First Class Reg.
I'm Taurian B.
And we're out of here.
Catch you next time.
Dun dun.